Marriage is one of the biggest commitments you'll ever make.
Entrepreneurship is one of the hardest journeys you'll ever take.
And when you choose to build a business and raise a family at the same time,
you face challenges most marriages never have to navigate.
We know because we've lived it.
We've experienced seasons of misalignment, financial pressure, and moments where growth tested our connection.
Not because we lacked love, but because building something meaningful together requires conversations most couples aren't prepared for.
Welcome to Entrepremarriage. I'm Myka.
And I'm Mahogany.
This podcast exists to help couples build wealth
without losing the marriage.
Let's talk about it.
Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to Entrepremarriage, where we focus on building the wealth without losing the marriage.
And welcome back, y'all. We are back with some more exciting stuff on, what's our theme again, my love?
Can building a business hurt the marriage?
Yes. I think last week, I forgot exactly what we talked about, but I know this week we're kind of going to a little bit touch on some communication, because we definitely had some communications that we had to break through yesterday with our businesses.
Yeah, it's real, communication as we discuss, building wealth without losing the marriage. We did a poll the other day on our marriage Facebook group. By the way, if you're not in our marriage Facebook group where we go in on conversations daily, we had a poll where it's like, where did your marriage need the most help, or where have you had to learn to grow the most within your marriage, or something along those lines. And a lot of people said communication. So communication is the number one thing that can break down in a marriage, as we all know, and in a business, as we all know. It's the number one thing that can break everything down. So today we're going to talk a little bit about communication, a little bit about our communication styles, and just how communication, should be, and if you want to keep it pushing. Now, keep in mind, we are by no means saying we're experts in communication. We're not. This is probably, the best we're doing on these platforms. No, I'm just kidding.
For real. Yeah, because we had uncomfortable conversations. We had to have a real, not uncomfortable, but a not heated or it was tense conversation about because on Sundays we've been planning out our week. Okay, how are we going to do the podcast? How we going to advertise? How we going to do the business? We got Mahogany's been working with the contractor to get one of our properties, some maintenance done on it. Getting those payments done, because right now it's a real tough time for our business, you know what I'm saying? Because stuff's going on. We're trying to turn some into short and long-term, short-term rentals to long-term rentals, and then getting that done, and money ain't coming in. So we got to plan it out. We had to have a real live conversation in my office, and I'm like, well, no, this ain't going right. And then Mike's like, well, I ain't never heard that, So yeah, it's things that you have to really have a deep conversation on and get on the same page. But once you leave those conversations with clarity, I think that's where the marriage grows, from my perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. When you can leave in clarity and not guns cocked and loaded, waiting for the next person to say something else about it. Yeah, that's a win to me. A lot of, even if it is and has to be a, what do they call it? Drag out, brawl out. Is that a real thing? Is that
drag out?
Even if it does have to be a drag out, if it can end in clarity and y'all staying together and us all staying together, that's a win. Definitely this weekend, it was interesting because we had a conversation about the way something had to go within the business. It was we need to do this. Now we need to do this. This is how we need to be doing this. So we're driving. It was mid-Saturday. We already did 20 things that morning a piece. Yeah. And it had just got kind of heated. And it had turned into the point where I just, told Myka, I'm like, I know you're hangry. Please don't talk to me until we get some food in your stomach. Just like that. And I was proud of myself to be able to be please don't talk to me until you get some food in your stomach. And we both just shut up. Because there are times in the past where those arguments, that could have went real ugly. That could have turned into a whole maybe 3 days of us looking at each other crazy. So, the matureness and the ability, to be able to just stop and be calm was great. I feel for me, it's usually Myka bringing us back down to earth. If we're not seeing eye to eye, it's usually him who's going to reel us back in, as it should be. He's our leader, so there's time, but this time I was able to be identifying and, checking out my surroundings and looking at all the denominators at play, and just pretty much say, hey, time out. Let's take a break from this conversation once we both get food in our stomachs. Mostly him, because he was more hungry than me. And then we'll revisit this. And we did, and we were able to enjoy the rest of our Saturday. Or maybe it was a Friday. Yeah, it was a Saturday.
It was Valentine's
we did a
Day.
lot that day. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was.
We did a lot that day, so it feels like a super long day. But yeah, so that's just an example of how communication, when you're talking about business and all these different factors, and you throw hunger on top of that, or tiredness or sleepiness on top of that, or stress from outside stressors on top of communication about business, it could be a bad mix. So
it can. Yeah, especially like noticing those things too, like knowing, hey, you hungry, chill. You sleepy, chill. You know what I'm saying? Because you do have to, know what's really most of the time in marriage, it ain't that person that's really affecting you. It's something you battling internally. And when you're able to pinpoint those things, it makes it a whole lot easier to communicate. And, and then just having those uncomfortable conversations to be vulnerable to talk about what you're going through. Because I think in that poll you talked about, it said one thing to have that you had to learn in marriage. A lot of people, I said communication, but my thing in communication was having to learn to listen to understand instead of listening to respond. Because that's a huge one, bro. You listen to respond instead of let me understand where you're coming from. Because that was mine.
Yeah, and I believe it's really easy to want to understand where the other person's coming from when you really realize we are one. We are on the same page. We're on the same team. So really getting that instilled, and not only instilled in your brain, but being one with someone's a constant reevaluation.
Straight up.
Where are you? Where am I? Where are we? Where are the goals? How far are we from that goal? It's like a constant check-in. And when I say constant, that could mean every hour of the day, if it needs to be, depending on where you're at in your marriage. It can mean on Sundays we sit and really check in there. It could be once a month. We check in once a month to make sure we're still on the same page. If you're checking in once a year, baby, you're probably sinking.
Yeah, I say
at least for us, we were sinking. If we're not checking in or really not intentional about it, it's easy to sink.
And then what it is, I think that comes down to entrepreneurship, right? Entrepreneurship and marriage. If you're doing them both, I think weekly. Shoes, it has to be, because we doing different things moving in different directions. Like this week I'm working on the taxes, this week you working on the property. It's what I'm saying, we got to be in sync, know what's going on, and be on the same page. Like you said, we are one. Yeah, it's tough, but I would say at least once a week you gotta check in, especially because we both work 9 to 5s, we got kids, we got aging parents. We got, and it's things.
You want to maintain yourself and still be who you are, especially ladies. It's actually extremely important for us. It's easier for us, I believe, at least most women, I believe it's easy to want to check in and be communal and tap in with your spouse. I know in our marriage where I started noticing we were falling off was, Myka, he is a man, first of all, he's an introvert, second of all, and he's the youngest child, third of all. Of way older siblings, where he's more used to being solo, on a solo plane. I'm gonna handle it. We're gonna do this, and when I need your help, I'll holler at you. But until then, I got this. Yeah. I'll tell you where I need you when I need you. Type of thing. And I am the oldest child, so I'm used to being the boss and directing everything. I'm used to being here's what you're gonna do, here's what you're gonna do, delegating stuff. That's my role that I was used to. So as a woman, I believe it's easier for us to be hey, babe, let's check in. Let's do a little date or, planning and see what's going on, and really taking that time to tap in with our partner as well. The men, I believe, until you started taking that leadership role of being intentional about it, it's not something you would do. It's just be you have all these things going on with yourself in your head with the business, and I'll only find out about the things that I'm involved with directly. Not really how you're feeling impacted or what's going on or things like that. And part of that was, me feeling oh, he doesn't want me involved, or he doesn't, see my value to be involved. So let me stay over here and build my own thing, where, the only way this works is, being in sync and on the same accord with communication. Yeah.
Cause I remember you used to always call me a lone wolf, and I never really realized what I was truly a lone. I've always operated as a lone wolf, because by the time, it's a 6-year gap between me and my brothers. So by the time I'm 16, my brother's in his 20s, my sisters are in their 20s. I'm kind of rolling solo by myself. And what it did really put a strain on the marriage, because Mahogany mentally thinking, I don't want her involved, and I'm just going, So, but I'm going to tell you, when I learned how to communicate and bring her into the business, those sit downs, those uncomfortable conversations, our business has actually grown due to us having those uncomfortable conversations with each other where it may get a little heated, but we able to see each other's perspective and we can see where we can grow, because the business has really grown because Mahogany's more creative than me. I'm very structure, systems, boom, we go. And I think last time we even talked about like, hey, knowing your strengths and weaknesses. You know, once we knew each other's strengths and weaknesses, our business took off, right? Because as we talk about building wealth without losing the marriage, one thing we've learned is that growth doesn't happen in isolation. It requires the right environment and the right people around you.
That's one of the reasons we decided to join Springboard to Wealth. It's a real estate investing community focused on mindset, strategy, and taking real action, not just talking about it.
Being a part of Springboard helped us think more clearly, move more intentionally, and stay disciplined in how we approach investing.
And for us, that matters because when you're married and building, the decisions you make financially affect more than just you.
If real estate investing is something you've been considering and you want to be around serious, growth-minded investors, we encourage you to check it out.
You can find the link in the show notes to learn more about Springboard to Wealth and see if it's a good fit for you. We hope to see you there. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Our business took off, right? Because I know what to assign to Mahogany. Mahogany knows what to assign to me. Like the other day, she was on a webinar, and she asked really good questions on the webinar. And then she was like, Myka, watch this webinar. This is all about systems. This is you. You take over it. I took over it. I watched, and I was like, okay, so I start putting things in place. But if she would have tried to do that on her own, she would have been frustrated.
Yeah.
And if I would have tried to handle these contractors on my own, I'd have been frustrated. So you just kind of got to learn. That's when that communication piece, because a while ago, like a few years ago, I probably would have tried to handle it on my own. I'm coming to bed angry. I look like, what's wrong with you? But I'm operating outside of my strengths. I'm operating in my weaknesses, which is her strength. So yeah, that's another good thing about it. Like if you're trying to grow a business, if you married and you use each other's strengths and weaknesses, it's powerful. It's a powerful tool.
That's facts, because I know for sure if I would have took on all the information from our coach, I would have been like, okay, get it and store it. Like, because it was just so overwhelming where it's like, okay, I'm going to store this for later and maybe work slowly on it, like super slow. While he's like, oh, this is my category. Poo, 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 poo. I already have this spreadsheet set up. I have this in Monday.com for the VA. I have this. So I'm just like, okay, cool. So I can go back to my creative side or my networking side where it's like, okay, let me go see what else I can get and bring back to the family, bring back to like, you know, it kind of reminds me of like, I don't know, this might be a bad example, but you guys know the Ant movie, Ants, Bug's Life.
Bug's Life, one of my favorite movies of all time. Go ahead though.
Like, it's kind of like how the queen ant, it doesn't always have to be the queen, but with ants it does. But the queen ant is like inside of the ant cave, telling everyone how to operate, telling everyone what they need to be doing, making sure they're in their tasks and things are getting done. And then you have the other one who's like going out and fetching the leaves or fetching this, or they know the loophole to get here, what restaurant throws out their food at what time, they're going to go get it and bring it back to keep building. Everyone has a role, and no role is more superior than the other one. In Bug's Life, of course, you're the queen ant, you're like superior. But in this example I'm trying to create, it's like everyone has a role to build, the dynasty.
You have to know your role too. Because the most powerful quote in that movie, remember when the grasshoppers came? He looked at her. Remember, Flick had knocked over all the food, right? All the food was gone. And she tried to blame it on Flick. But the grasshopper said, but you're the leader. And he was like, if you're the leader, it's always your fault. But the real significant piece is, one, that's a true statement. The significant piece was the reason why she failed at that time was because she didn't use Flick's strengths. Flick was more smart. He was intelligent. He created a machine to get all the food, and she wasn't using it. She like, nah, let's just keep doing it the old school way.
Right.
Man, there's a lot about leadership in that, man. Disney always got the good movies, man. Like Bug's Life was a cold one about leadership. Go back and watch like the first 20 minutes. Oh, it's some deep lessons up in there if you go watch them, especially if you're an entrepreneur. You'll love that.
Check out the Bug's Life, y'all. Plugging in the Bug's Life.
They probably like, what? Bug's Life? I'm for real. Once you go back as an adult and watch certain Disney movies, it'd be hitting on some stuff. You'd be like, yo.
I heard sometimes there are some nasty things that really turned out to be in these Disney movies, like little cues and things. No, I'm not.
Yeah,
but
some of them.
No, it's kind of freaky. But anyway, that's off topic. Very interesting. Disney, I don't know what y'all got going on, but you got us drawn in. But anyway.
Yeah, Bug's Life was good. Our favorite one personally was Lion King, but
yeah, we love Lion King.
Yeah, but that one was really good because it teaches you about entrepreneurship, leadership, putting people in a position to win, and also being innovative in your marriage. Like, hey, if you know she's Mahogany's the creative one, be able to understand when she communicates new ideas and not just throw them off, because I used to do that a lot, so me diving into that and allowing her to being receptive, that's when things really grow. And that's that Bug's Life I was telling you about. But yeah, that is very important. Yeah.
That's good stuff. Yeah. Also just realizing your communication style is really important. Mm-hmm. Like the style and the timing. When I say timing, for an example, we had a situation over this weekend where I felt like it wasn't between us, but I felt like I was ready to address it head on and talk about it right now. Like, I was not going to be okay until we talked about this. And not us, but, until I talked about it to this person, I was not going to be okay. It's like, I have to talk to this person. I have to get it off my chest. I have to get it out of my mind. And the more I'm sitting on it, the worse it's getting. Because even if I did have more understanding and empathy at first, towards later it gets, baby, no, I'm getting more mad. So, and Myka, he's the opposite. Like, he needs time to process. He needs time to really marinate and think logically about what's going on before he reacts. So that kind of like transferred into our marriage as well, and communication styles. Like when something happens, like I'm the one who wants to talk about it right now. Like, we're going to talk about this. Let's get this off. Yeah. And he's more like, he needs time or it's not going to be a good reaction. And so, it's really taking that balance of learning your partner's communication timing and when you should lay it on them. Like, when am I going to talk about this? It's just an interesting thing because with communication, everyone has their timing. That can destroy everything if it's the wrong timing. You
know what, though? I think that's where those weekly check-ins help us. Because now because we used to not check in weekly, but us checking in weekly, it helps because now I know what you're going through, what I'm going through, and we can, boom, so the things that I need to process, I done probably got them out in that think tank session, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is very important. The communication style is very important because, like, I ain't gonna lie, like stuff that I might deal with outside of us and our issues, me, I'm very, like you said, I'm very to myself. The only people, like, I feel like I have to address stuff with, and I need to work on this because Mahogany says I'm not a people person, is my wife and my kids. Everybody else, I'm like, and Mahogany, and that does hurt us sometimes. That's why she's the people person in business. Because the way I do it, I'd be like, unless you like my business partner is different. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I got to work on that.
Yeah. And that's the great part is that we could always be working on our communication, improving on it little by little. I can't wait for us to get some professionals on here to really talk to us more about communication and how we can add to our marriages and our businesses. So
for sure.
Yeah. Anything else?
That is it. This episode, we definitely want to talk about like the communication style in business and marriage, and how to really leverage that and understand each other's, strengths, weaknesses, communication styles, and how to really leverage that to really grow. And like, especially like if you're a married couple who's hasn't really started a business yet, but has a business idea, quickly learn each other's strengths and weaknesses. And this is one thing I tell you, do not do. Do not try to make your strengths her strength because it's just going to turn into a fight. Make your strengths your strengths and then make sure she's focusing on her strengths. Because a lot of times our ego gets to talking to us where, well, if I know how to do this, you should know how to do this. That ain't how it works. So that's the number one business thing I see between married entrepreneurs. You're trying to make the other person's strengths your strengths, and that ain't how it works.
Yeah. We can't wait to dive deeper into this session with you guys. Right now we're talking about, can building a business damage the marriage and how can you come up with a solution so it doesn't. So number one tonight, communication, But we appreciate you guys for rocking with us. We can't wait to be here again and talk to y'all some more.
We are out.
If this conversation resonated with you and you want to go deeper,
join us inside the Entrepremarriage Inner Circle on Patreon. You'll find the link in the show notes. And while you're here,
make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss future episodes.
You can also join our Entrepremarriage Facebook community. The link is in the description to keep the conversation going between episodes.
Thanks for watching.
Until next time,
keep building wealth
without losing the marriage.